From experience, there are quite a number of different mistakes that I've experienced. Couple out of interest are delayed response, so the failing to act quickly when a breach happens. Not preserving evidence is another one. So that's where accidentally wiping logs or rebuilding systems before the forensic analysis has been done. Lack of coordination is another big one. So not having the coordination between the different internal teams, and also just to mention, it's your you need to inform customers as well, and that a breach has happened. It's advisable to be honest with them. And then finally, ignoring legal obligations. Obviously you've got, if in the UK, the ICO, in Ireland you got the DPC, which you need to notify within a certain period of time, and if you don't, you get fined. So often these obligations are missed off, so causing fines. So yeah. The most surprising thing I've seen during an incident was a critical national infrastructure organization. It was a utilities company that basically had network diagrams and plain text passwords in a spreadsheet. And this was for their entire operational technology, their industrial control system environment. And it was stored in plain sight as well. This spreadsheet was on a number of different IT people's machines. Basically, in that case, it didn't take long for the attacker to gain access and cause a lot of pain. There's the classic line of, it's not a question of if, but when. And obviously, I'm biased to say this, but if that wasn't true, then I would be out of a job. I've seen companies that get breached with £1 million budgets in IT. I've seen companies been breached that obviously pay a lot less in IT. I think that the key factor there is that it's not a question of when, if, but it's a question of when. So it will happen. The speed to which an attack happens can depend on many factors. So one of these is the motivation of the threat actor. So is it ransomware for profit, or is it a nation state? Typically in a ransomware for profit, we're looking at a shorter amount of time, because basically they want to get in and out. They want to get in, steal the data, and then encrypt and then get out, light the match and leave the building. Whereas in more kind of nation state based breaches, you're looking at a longer dwell time. So this is more because they want to harvest information, they want to remain undetected. So that's one factor. The other factors are the complexity of the network or the size of the victim. So obviously bigger orgs, like for example the Marks and Spencers recently, absolutely huge org. The dwell time was slightly longer than average. Cyber defenses in place obviously play a key part there as well. So having good cyber defenses will delay the threat actor. And then how busy the threat actor is as well. So we've seen some threat actors compromise up to 50 victims a month. These guys don't hang about, basically. Once they're in your network, they'll be in and out within a day, onto the next victim. Whereas the more quieter threat actors, they have the time and the resources to spend it a little bit longer. Had a breach with an organization about 2 years now, whereby their entire domain had been taken down. So their Microsoft 365, so the cloud side of things, as well as their on-premise Active Directory, all got taken down at the same time. And it got to the point where they couldn't actually email anyone. So their whole email systems went down, they got locked out of all of their accounts. So it was pretty much the worst case scenario. And we got a message. I got a text from one of the people there, because essentially in our service we set up kind of side methods of communication other than email and phone. And she texted me and rang me and basically said, help, we've had a breach. And then we responded, and that was within 14 minutes of the initial indicators of that compromise. So. There are many things that keep security leaders awake at night. having done incident response internally for organizations, I know this very well. Some of the examples are undetected breaches, so the fear that the attackers are already inside the network and haven't been discovered yet. That's obviously a big scary point, because it's almost like you don't know what's happening, and it's going under your nose as well. Insider threats, so the worries that you've got a malicious or a careless insider that is going to give access to a threat actor, either on purpose or by accident. Supply chain compromise, with lots of organizations these days using a lot of third parties. There's obviously the worry that one of those third parties might give access to the organization. Inadequate visibility, so not knowing, if you're a larger organization, this is more true, that you might not know what is exactly inside your infrastructure, so there might be something exposed to the internet that shouldn't be. And then the final thing I would say is probably regulatory based, so potential fines for not following proper incident response procedures or missing things off in the reports. Anything that could cause reputational damage as well is what would normally keep a security leader up at night. The key thing there, the absolute number one, is speed. So speed of response. So it's having a team, boots on the ground, trained in incident response, ready to go at pretty much immediate time. So most incident response retainers will have some sort of SLA, so a service level agreement, which says they will respond in a certain amount of time. Our average time at Integrity is about 14 minutes, so that's our average time that we respond. We have someone senior on a case. But one of the other major reasons why a retainer is the type of insurance that you should have is that there is preparation before a breach. So talking from personal experience, having a breach whereby you know nothing about the organization, it can take about maybe 24 hours to really get to know that organization before you start really having an impact on the incident. Whereas when you do the preparation beforehand, which is what you do with a retainer, is you get to know the client, you get to know the communications matrix, you get to know exactly how that organization works internally. Maybe you'll do some mini scenarios, mini tabletops to get you prepared. That saves absolutely valuable time. We're talking, shaves off 24 hours from an incident, which is absolutely key during a breach. So. This is talking from personal experience. The organizations that I've dealt with that have done tabletops, they've done they've tested their systems, they've tested their policies and procedures. The biggest thing that comes to mind is confidence, and muscle memory. So they know exactly what to do. They have the confidence to do it. They don't they're not running around like headless chickens trying to find out, trying to decide what to do and whose role is where. The knowledge and experience on what to do under pressure is a big thing as well. Obviously that goes along in parallel with confidence. Knowing who to contact is a big one. So everybody knowing their own roles. So what you don't want is kind of like an IT manager taking one role, taking on too many roles at one time, and then it gets very, very confusing. Then you haven't really got the defined roles where everybody knows exactly what they're doing. So all the roles need to be clearly set out and compartmentalized, so that when the breach happens, everybody knows what they're doing. And then finally, the key, one of the best things that come out of IR prep is knowing the identification of gaps. So knowing your weaknesses. If you know your weaknesses, you can then obviously prepare beforehand. But once the breach happens, you know exactly where to put more effort into certain areas that your weaknesses lie in. We have dedicated IR analysts capable of leading incident response engagements in over 9 countries. Our average response time from in the initial call to having a senior analyst on the case is 14 minutes. Obviously, our SLA for that is a little bit longer, but that's just obviously to cover us from a legal point of view. But yeah, 14 minutes is our average response time for remote assistance, and then on-site assistance is an hour and a half. Being breach ready means that as an organization, you've identified gaps and risks through cyber risk assessments. So you've had a look at the overall kind of strengths and weaknesses of your organization, and you've identified the gaps and risks where you need to improve. You've tested those risks as well. So you tested the risks, you've tried different scenarios, your team is prepared, so you know exactly what to do. And then finally, you'll have something like an incident response retainer in place that can move instantly, just in the off chance that you need that extra help, those boots on the ground. Don't wait for the wake-up call. So don't wait until you've had an incident to actually work on these things. Obviously, the best kind of experience for an incident is actually having one, but it's often a trial by fire. So just speaking from experience, the best incidents progress in where you've prepared for them. Budgets need to be in place and get prepared. Obviously, cyber incidents and cyber defense in general are expensive. It's not cheap, but having that incident response retainer in place is essentially a bit like insurance. It could be the difference between 20% of the cost or 100% of the cost. It really makes that big of a difference. And then these days, attackers are constantly evolving and thinking about angles that you aren't sure of yet. So it's always important to be one step ahead, or try and be one step ahead of the attackers, and keep up to date with the latest tactics, techniques, procedures of threat actors. For example, one recently, there's been a lot of news about SIM swapping. That's just one example of something that maybe wasn't heard of a few years back. I think the main thing there is the magical words AI. I feel like attacks are going to become faster and more automated. Obviously, with the addition of AI, they can automate a lot of these attacks. They can find weaknesses much quicker. For example, there's now bug bounty programs for known vulnerabilities. There's AI out there that can search for 0 days and vulnerabilities. This is going to become game changing. It's also going to be good for the defense side, because researchers can use it to find flaws and then patch them. But on the same time, from the attacker's point of view, they can very quickly find flaws in a network. Not to mention that AI will help in the realm of social engineering as well. So obviously, social engineering needs a human aspect, but AI has become so good that it is able to effectively mimic a human, and a lot of these most recent high-profile breaches is all a result of social engineering. So all these attacks are becoming faster and automated, and this is why it's important to be proactive and learn about the latest techniques, as well as preparing your organization for them.